Good morning, brothers and sisters. Today we're going to be reading the first few verses in First Timothy chapter 4. Here, Paul makes a strong emphasis on what the church believes and how to watch out for strange doctrines and make sure the church is establishing the truth. And he warns about false teachers and even names names, calls them by name. And in these last days that we face, brothers and sisters, it's difficult times that we are living in. We are warned by Paul here in First Timothy that there will be doctrines of demons and that there will be a great falling away. I mean, there's people in the church that have strayed away from the faith and even come against us, and I believe that the enemy uses them as a tool to come against the church and the believers. So let's read the first few verses. But the Spirit explicitly says that in later times some will fall away from the faith, paying attention to deceitful spirits and doctrines of demons, by means of the hypocrisy of liars, seared in their own conscience as with a branding iron. Well, here Paul has much to say regarding false doctrines and spiritual warfare and how to protect and guard them from those false teachers and their doctrines. In the church today, we even have false teachers and leaders and even other brethren that are leading people astray by and here in First Timothy chapter 4, he names them Alexander and Hymenaeus, which we'll read later on in another study. But he mentions also some of the women and how they calls them out for their improper attire and whatnot, and also possibly even seducing the men. Timothy is instructed how vitally important it is to appoint elders and leaders that are qualified in sound teaching. We are reminded of the kind of people we ought to be, especially in the days that are drawing near. Proper conduct starts with proper doctrine in the church. Now, there are obvious false teachers today, guys like, for example, Rick Warren or Andy Stanley, Stephen Furtick, or Mike Todd. There's another guy, Caleb Stiles, who are obvious false teachers. I mean, just listen to some of their sermons, and you'll see right away that they do indeed preach doctrines of demons. False teachers were still and are a threat to the church. Jesus and the apostles repeatedly warned against them. Such false teaching can be very direct or extremely subtle. Believers ought to respond quickly when they sense false teaching is being promoted. Sometimes the source may prove to be ignorant of the error and do not appreciate the correction. But a firm warning may at least keep potential victims from the disastrous results of the apostasy that Paul described. Paul said the false teachers were hypocrites and liars who encouraged people to follow deceptive spirits and doctrines of demons. The danger that Timothy faced in Ephesus seems to have come from certain people in the church who were following some Greek philosophers. Satan deceives people by offering a clever imitation of the real thing. We must not be unduly impressed by a teacher's style or credentials. We must look to his teaching about Christ. His conclusions about Christ show the source of his message. Brothers and sisters, we are living in the last days. The early church considered themselves to be living in the last days, and we are in the last days. As Paul wrote to Timothy, in the latter days, many will fall away from the truth or from the faith. So please, brothers and sisters, we have to guard our hearts and our minds from these false teachers and their doctrines of demons. Be alert. The devil prowls around like a roaring lion. Jesus said, do not be deceived. Many will come in my name. John 5 and Matthew 24 as well. We are told to pay close attention to our teaching and to watch our own walk. Please pray for one another, lift one another up, love one another, and serve one another. Amen. God bless.